Welcome to ThinkTech on OC16, Hawaii's weekly newscast on things that matter to tech and to Hawaii. I'm Jay Fidell.
And I'm Anny Wong.
In our show tonight, we'll talk about the Science and Engineering Fair and how things went for its participants at the end of March.
We'll meet the leaders of the Hawaii Academy of Science, which organizes the fair, and some of the officials and kids who participated.
There were hundreds of kids presenting their projects, dozens of judges and celebrity judges, and what seemed like 1 million friends, family, and well-wishers who came around to see the exhibits and support the kids.
We heard opening comments from Hawaii Academy of Science President Bruce Anderson and President-elect Neal Atebara, entrepreneur Hank Wuh, and Queens Hospital Research Director Andrea Fleig. We also heard from Governor Neal Abercrombie.
Science is not just technological application. It is not just experimentation per se. Science is actually a philosophy in the sense that we wonder whether we can get replication, whether we can get a logical sequence and consequence of events that can be replicated, that can stand the test of scrutiny. And experimentation as such then is to lead us to expanding our boundaries of knowledge. We want to make certain that when you think of your future, you're thinking of Hawaii and not thinking, I may have to leave Hawaii because I won't be able to put forward all of the things that I want to do, all the things that I want to accomplish, unless it's someplace else. No, we want it to be in Hawaii. We want you to be able to pursue your dreams at home here. You have a friend in this governor, I can tell you that. Mua Hawaii.
Dr. Hank Wuh is the CEO of Wuh of Skai Ventures, whose motto is invent, disrupt, inspire.
But it was there at Stanford that I discovered my passion in life, which was inventing and being an entrepreneur. So by day, I was a surgeon, working many long hours, but by night, I was an inventor. And before I knew it, I was able to be in the business of an entrepreneur and inventor to transform ideas and concepts into products and technologies that will actually touch the lives of patients around the world. And our motto is such that we scour the entire world for brilliant people with genius ideas, and we help them transform those ideas into products and companies that are transformational and that are economically viable. The future is in your hands. Follow your dream. Invent, disrupt, inspire. Thank you very much.
And another Hawaii State Science and Engineering Fair product, Dr. Neal Atebara.
After losing state funding a little over a year ago, many thought it would not be possible for the science fair to continue. Fortunately, there are many people in our community who value science education in Hawaii. Scores of institutions and hundreds of individuals have given generously to the science fair. One of the very first individuals to step up with his support was Mr. Art Ushijima, President and CEO of the Queens Medical Center. We are very pleased to present Mr. Ushijima and the Queens Medical Center with our first ever Hawaii Academy of Science Mahalo Award.
You in this room are the leaders, are the future leaders in research, technology development, and engineering. We at Queens, we depend on your talents to fulfill the mission of our founders now and in the future.
And we wish you all the best in the fair and look forward to the judging process. And I think for hundreds of kids in Hawaii, it is truly the formative experience in their lives, how talented these kids are and the level of expertise. You know, we had one fair winner a year or two ago who developed an algorithm for projecting the outbreak of infectious diseases, like the dengue outbreak that we may experience here. The Centers for Disease Control used that as a computer model to project the spread of swine flu throughout the United States. Hawaii kids always do well in the International Fair. In fact, remarkably so. For a small little state like ours, we're always up in the finals and competing with the best in the world.
And it's neat that at the science fair, we have people from so many different areas of life that ordinarily would not necessarily come together. But they come together for the science fair because it's for our kids' education. They've spent months on their projects, day and night after school. This is not part of the science curriculum, and yet because they are very interested, they come together and they put together a science fair. It takes a lot of determination. They have to think of the project, figure out who to talk to find out how to get the solutions, carry through the project to fruition and then be able to communicate it effectively. So it's good communication skills. This is their moment. They're now talking to the judges, telling them about their projects, and the judges have a very big job. They have to decide amongst all these super bright students who is most worthy to get the highest honors.
Then we walked the floor and saw so many friends and colleagues who were serving as judges and celebrity judges at the fair, as well as so many visitors and well-wishers who came to support the kids and the fair. Dennis Sirota, you're down here at the science fair. Why?
Well, they asked me to be a celebrity judge.
I'm here to appreciate and understand the body of wisdom that our youth is creating in terms of their interest in science, their passion for knowledge, and their passion for looking at things creatively.
Who's the tougher judge here?
Oh, let's find out. Hopefully neither one of them are tough, we're just insightful.
Yes, right. Haven't done it before, so I'll be gracious about everything.
Can I give you some advice?
Sure.
These kids are amazing, okay? They can and they will answer any question. Drill down.
I mean, these kids are just phenomenal. Growing plants, magnetic levitation, soil. There's one young lady that actually scuba dives in Mark's territory of where the fish actually swim, and she's got knowledge of why, and it just blew my mind.
A little while ago,
yes,
they were answering you and so articulate and everything. So the
yes.
question is, did you understand the answer?
You want him to admit that?
Just between us guys.
Of course I understood most of the answer.
I'm on the board of St. Louis School, and our people are here in Chaminade University. So I came to see how smart they are.
They're fantastic. I just saw my kids there. He's from New Orleans, so I'm prejudiced. He got a tremendous project there, assessing the acidity of the rainwater affected by a volcano. It's amazing.
To be a celebrity judge gives me an opportunity to go around and meet many of the students, to learn about their experiments and really to learn about what motivated them. I spoke to kids who tested water pressure versus air pressure on rocket flight distance, which was interesting. What I'm less interested in the project itself and more interested in the processes the kids went through.
You are not a celebrity judge, but a real judge.
A real judge. Yes, I am.
So what's your science background that makes you want to be a real judge?
Well, I'm a civil engineer, and I've been in the Coast Guard for 24 years. So I've done a lot of engineering, a lot of science, a lot of math. So I've been enjoying it.
That's great.
This is great. It's a great opportunity to get out and be with the kids and see all the great stuff they're doing.
You went through this program. You're like Neal Atebara. Your life was defined at some point in time.
It was. When I was 17, 18, I had a great teacher who did a research science course specifically, took us through the whole process from start to finish, and I studied acid rain back in Pennsylvania, and I won the competition for Pennsylvania and got a scholarship, so it set me off toward medical school. Clear things up in my mind that I could do well in science if I put myself, applied myself. So why don't we have this program extend to every kid in the state of Hawaii? We really should. I'm enthusiastic about this. I really am. I'm skipping a couple hearings today. I was going to ask you what hearings you're skipping. I told them to put the decision making off till 10:30 because I wanted to come see some of the students.
I remember Perry Smorgy down in Waikiki. This is like tenfold Perry Smorgies of ideas and wonderful things to talk about.
New ideas, new techniques, new technologies, new discoveries.
Change the world stuff. Where shall America place its reliance? 6th grade science.
Oh, very good. You see enthusiasm for wanting to know something at a very, very deep level and getting very, very jazzed about it. You still have at the pre-college age this incredible wonderment about everything and how things work and how I'm discovering how things work. All of these kids have been motivated by something or someone, this kind of curiosity doesn't come up just out of nowhere, It comes because of teachers, It really is, it's getting people together in a larger community, seeing what people do individually, but then also seeing what people are doing corporately, which is adding to this really interesting synergy of young people and young ideas.
So how do you compare this one against last year?
It's too early to say. I'm still my mind is just giddy seeing what I've seen here. What's particularly interesting is meeting some of the students who I remember from last year, and seeing how much they've done in addition to what they did last year, and that's always very inspiring to see that. Actually, what's particularly gratifying is I've had once or twice gone back to see a project that is an extension of what was done last year, and the student then answers a question that I asked in the previous year, remembers what I asked, and gives me an answer. And again, that is a wonderful feeling when that happens.
Scary.
Yes.
Good for you that you remember it well enough.
Yes.
But good for him that he does too.
That's right.
You know, at first you put it on your calendar and you say, oh, it's something else I got to go to and do, but then you get there and you say, oh, this is great, you know, and after you're kind of jazzed up, you go tell your colleagues and people in the office, and you go home and tell your wife or whatever, and you know, about all the stuff. And then it's typically on the news that night. You kind of see a little bit of it. So yeah, no, I really enjoy it. The kids are great, and they come up with some really interesting ideas. Some crazy ideas, but he's like, well, that's how you invent things. And then some are more normal ideas, and some are ideas that you've seen before, but that's okay, you know.
Some of them are ideas that you haven't seen, and maybe nobody has. You know?
Yeah.
And finally, we scouted the exhibits and found some really interesting presenters to tell us about their projects. They were amazing, as you'll see.
Speaking with a wonderful young lady, you know, Miss Liu from St. Andrew's Priory, and she has done some incredible new geometric discoveries. Right now, she even has 2 types of numbers that are named after her, you know, as a result of her discoveries. You have to see.
So I basically find 3 new triangle centers, yeah, related to this.
Nobody ever found before.
No, yeah.
What are these called now?
The first Liu point and second Liu point, named after me. So Taiwan University has great programs. They have connections between Yale and Harvard, so that's why I chose to go there. And maybe so for graduated PhD research, I can go to a U.S. school. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. When you finish with that.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. So is that the plan? That
yeah,
you come
that's
back
my plan.
Take your PhD.
Yeah, somewhere in the U.S.
By that time, you can get a scholarship.
Yes. Yeah.
So what did you learn in this? I mean, if I asked you to tell me in 1 sentence what you learned, what did you learn?
What do I learn? Oh, wow. Modern geometry is my enthusiasm, is my love. And my learn about geometry is that doing science fair is like doing what you love. Yeah. Doing what you love and go for it. Yeah.
I'm using a digital camera to take photos of a moving ceiling fan. And I'm using the shutter speed on the camera to determine how much blur would be in each picture. It really depends on the shutter speed you use. The lower the shutter speed, the more blur in your picture. The higher, the less blur.
Well, I selected this topic because I want to be a dentist. That's one thing. And my dad's a dentist, so I knew I could get all the materials. And well, my hypothesis was that the circular motion toothbrush was gonna remove the most plaque. And in the end, I was right. And all that pinkish purple stuff is all the plaque. And so what you do is you put there's this thing called a disclosing tablet, and you have to chew it. And then it shows all the plaque. That plaque is like bacteria on your teeth, so.
Okay, so all these are your teeth?
Yeah, all
so
those are my teeth.
sometimes it's you had a lot of plaque on some days, huh?
Yep, well, I had to let all the plaque build up first.
Oh, you did it purposely?
Yeah, meaning
how do you build up plaque purposely?
Don't brush your teeth.
How long do you have to not brush your teeth?
2 to 3 days.
Okay.
And so everybody at school.
Well, I was inspired by the large oil spill from the Gulf of Mexico, the BP oil spill in 2010. And they had a lot of efforts to clean up the oil spill, which was evaporated or degraded by microorganisms in the Gulf. So it was reported that the Gulf of Mexico had many species of oil degrading bacteria because of the constant oil seepage from the ocean floor. So it was a source of nutrients for the bacteria. So that's why it inspired me to do the same thing for Hawaiian ocean water. It was from the Arthobacter family, and a possibility of the bacteria could be Pseudomonas putida, which is a type of bacteria. So I figured that out based on the size and color. It was obtained, and there was an organic layer, so you could tell the differences in the amount of bacteria. So I used Pennsylvania grade crude oil, which is hard to find, so I had to order it. So I used that oil because it was more thick and it had more of a substance. And then I added hexane into the different flasks. So each flask, it was either sterilized or I added yeast extract and TBA into the flask. And I was able to, from UH, I was able to use the incubator. I found out that they were all positive, and my statistical analysis were that most of them, except flask 1 and 2, had a significant difference. It was shown to eat depending on the flask and the yeast extract and TBA, it had the different amount of oil eaten up.
So the project as a whole was focused on the nutraceutical aspect of 3 dendrobium orchids. And nutraceuticals is a term coined that actually refers to food or food products that have some kind of medicinal or nutritional benefit, including the prevention or control of disease. So my hypothesis was that these 3 dendrobium orchids, you can see at the top, had vitamin content in B5, B7, B9, and B12.
When I was doing my research, I found that if you are a right-handed person, then when you lie, you'll look up to the right or the observer's left. So that is called the visually constructed reflex, and that's when you make up something in your mind, like when you're making up a lie. So basically, the procedure I took is I had the person sit in a chair, I set up a video camera, and I monitored their eye movements when I asked them the questions like, could you imagine a purple buffalo?
Alright, so the project is about, we're trying to determine the best constraining layer. So we use different constraining layers, like we use bubble wrap, foam, denim cloth, foam board, carpet, and underlayment, like under the laminate flooring. So we testing out which one is the best to dampen sound.
My project is about the comparison between 2 solar power desalination devices, and pretty much what it does is I built 2 devices. One is with the reflector and one is without, and what we're testing is if the reflector will produce more seawater than the one without the reflector. So then the result shows that on day 1, the average collection is 6.57 ml per hour, and on day 2 is 5.86 ml per hour, and then the one without the reflector is 5.86 to 4.7, and the difference is that you can see that this produces more water than the one without the reflector, so therefore my hypothesis is proven.
Chemotherapy is limited due to the presence of the glutathione S-transferase enzymes within cells. Glutathione S-transferase is a family of detoxification enzymes found in all eukaryotic cells. Now, glutathione S-transferase exhibit detoxification properties with respect to various chemotherapy agents. Now, molecules called enzyme inhibitors bind to the glutathione S-transferases and decrease their function. One type of enzyme inhibitor is azacrinic acid. Azacrinic acid binds to glutathione S-transferase, which allows chemotherapy agents to get into the cells and induce apoptosis. Now, it is already known that the chemotherapy drugs 5-fluorouracil, cisplatin, etoposide, and vinblastine can induce apoptosis in cells. However, it is not yet known whether or not azacrinic acid is able to potentiate their effects. The purpose of this experiment is to determine whether or not azacrinic acid will potentiate the effects of chemotherapy agents with divergent mechanisms of action. In the study, the 4 drugs that I used were 5-fluorouracil, cisplatin, etoposide, and vinblastine.
Why did you pick them?
I picked them, well, because they have divergent mechanisms of action, so I could determine, partially because I could determine the magnitude of the effect that azacrinic acid plays on chemotherapy agents with divergent mechanisms of action.
You didn't do this in the kitchen, did you?
No, I did it at the University of Hawaii John Bird Medical School.
But these are only some of the kids we picked at random. There were lots more kids there, charming and brilliant and dedicated to science in every form. They are an incredible lot, these kids, and we wish them well in every way.
3 things seem clear. The fair is popular and represents kids and schools from all over the state. The kids are completely committed to it and try really hard to achieve excellence in their projects. Finally, it's clear that we have great kids and budding scientists in our midst right here in Hawaii, and that's the best thing of all. Hawaii, it's all about the kids and the future.
Their lives and educations are enhanced by the fair, just as so many generations of kids before them. The winners are likely to leave the state for education on the mainland. We truly hope they succeed in whatever they do, and that they find a way to get back to Hawaii. They are our best and brightest, and we need them here to build the future together.
The Hawaii Academy of Science and the fair have been going strong since 1925. A couple of years ago, however, the legislature cut all funding for the Academy, and since then, they've had to raise money from private sources to keep the fair going.
You can be one of those sources, and you can help the fair keep going next year and in the years thereafter. Check out the Hawaii Academy of Science and find a way to support the science fair as much as you can. Do it for the kids and for our community. People think that education in Hawaii is not doing that well, but in fact there are points of light out there, and the science fair draws them. And there's this extraordinary bunch of kids, you know, who do the most amazing things, you know, because kids are capable of more than you thought.
Absolutely. You just got to challenge them.
Yes. And that's what the science fair does. And it takes them out of their schools and into science, and it opens the world to them, and they find themselves.
Right.
And they gain a confidence they would not gain in the ordinary course. And this confidence changes their lives. And there are so many people who are proof of this, you know, and some of them are actually the members of the Science Fair Board of Directors. Neal Atebara, the president-elect, that's exactly what he did. He won the Science Fair back years ago, changed his life. He became an ophthalmologist and a scientist. So, you know, it's a wonderful thing to watch this happen. And you can actually go down there and you can look and you can feel it. You can feel it in the air. You can feel the energy.
The energy, right? Yeah.
So kids are more than they seem.
Oh,
that's the lesson.
absolutely. I agree with you. And you just got to challenge them, give them the opportunity to, you know, have that chance to explore what interests them and find answers for themselves. It's not up to any teacher or parent or even a textbook to tell them that this is the answer. Sometimes it takes that hands-on experience to experience what it means to do a science experiment, to see how something might break, you know, turn to flames, go rotten, whatever it is, and see for themselves, whoa, so this is what it is. And it is that moment, that is that one moment, I think, that really spark that young mind to say, this is interesting, this is exciting, this is what I want to do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Annie.
All right.
That's great.
Yes.
And now, here's our ThinkTech calendar of events going forward.
This Thursday on April 28th, ThinkTech, the Hawaii Venture Capital Association, and Pacific New Media at University of Hawaii will present a luncheon program called Reciprocal Investments Between Hawaii and China.
On May 26th, ThinkTech, HVCA, and Pacific New Media will present our 2011 legislative update, taking stock on the events and results of the 2011 legislative session.
And now, here's Bill Spencer, president of the Hawaii Venture Capital Association, with this week's Spensation.
You know, we're just barely coming out of this multi-year recession, but while we were suffering, China was just perking along. They spent almost $1 trillion bolstering their companies, both private and government-owned, and that's why we're doing a program at our next HVCA ThinkTech luncheon meeting on reciprocal investment in China. What do you think?
Oh, I'm really excited about that. Reciprocal investment in China. The Hawaii people investing in China and the China people investing in Hawaii coming together. It was always our destiny, you know, and maybe this year, maybe soon, it'll happen. It's very, very exciting.
I think now is the time.
Yeah.
And the pressure is on China. They're concerned about resources, and plus they've got a tremendous pollution problem that can only be solved by improving their utilization of energy. And with all those people moving to the cities and all that extra congestion and traffic, they've got to do something, and we could lead the way.
We've got to sell them more than just energy. I mean, it's hard to sell them energy from where we are. We've got to sell them energy technology.
Now the tables may turn a little bit, and we'll benefit from that growth.
You know, this sounds like a fabulous program. How do people sign up? What more do you want to tell them about that?
It's very simple. Just go to hvca.org. Check out the luncheon event, April 28th, the fourth Thursday of April, and China Reciprocal Investing.
We'll be right back to wrap up this week's edition of ThinkTech, but first we want to thank our underwriters.
Thanks to the Scheidler Family Foundation. Jay Scheidler, through the Scheidler Family Foundation, supports a number of educational, cultural, and charitable organizations, including ThinkTech.
Hawaiian Electric Company, HECO, and its affiliates, MECO on Maui and HELCO on the Big Island, are deeply committed to the communities they serve.
Galen Ho. Galen Ho is a senior executive of BAE Systems, a global defense, security, and aerospace company which has a large presence in and commitment to Hawaii.
Oceanit, a local tech company, is one of Hawaii's largest and most diversified science and engineering companies.
Okay, Annie, that wraps up this week's edition of ThinkTech. Remember, you can watch ThinkTech on OC16 several times every week, just like Duke does, and Annie too. For additional times, check out oc16.tv.
For lots more ThinkTech videos and for underwriting and sponsorship opportunities on ThinkTech on OC16, visit thinktechhawaii.com. Be a sponsor. Help us reach Hawaii.
I'm Jay Fidell. Thanks for joining us on ThinkTech.
I'm Anny Wong. Aloha, everyone.